Take the fresh, unspotted cadaver of a red-headed man.
Unspotted. So you want a redhead, but no freckles.
How do you get a redhead without freckles?
Well, that's the thing.
I'm half giga and I'm covered. I mean, imagine what a real one looks like.
I got to say, I wasn't expecting it to be take a redhead.
Well, because in them, the blood is thinner and the flesh, hence, more excellent. They should be about 24 and have been executed and died a violent death. Let the corpse lie one day and night in the sun and moon, but the weather must be good. Cut the flesh in pieces and sprinkle it with myrrh and just a little aloe. Then you soak it in spirits of wine for several days. Hang it up for 6 to 10 hours. Don't tell the neighbours.
Like pegs through the shoulders?
Then let the pieces dry in dry air.
You're hanging it by the butt.
Nature's hook.
That's what they call it.
Make your own mummy.
I would have included the cut up.
Yeah.
Because it's a radically different recipe. Cook a whole cow versus cook a sausage.
When you've done all this, they will be similar, the bits, to smoked meat and will not stink.
I was hoping they wouldn't stink.
Spent a lot of time thinking about cannibalism this week. Haven't you?
No. No.
So, it's been years since we've, really dug into cannibalism. We haven't talked about it. Like, I had a look back over the catalogue and I was thinking there was one we did on fecal microbiota transplants, and I don't know if that's cannibalism, though.
It is not cannibalism.
Eating poo?
It's not cannibalism.
Are you sure?
Like, under no definition is medical feces or non-medical feces eating like that. It's not
Medical
cannibalism.
Feces.
Yeah, it's not cannibalism.
What about fingernails?
It's weird, but it's not cannibalism.
Why not?
Because they're going off anyway. Like eating hair.
But if it's on your body, like if I grabbed your hair and started eating it while it was on your head, am I being a cannibal? I mean, other than all the other problems.
No, you got to get to the meat. Like that's
got to get to the meat.
That's when it's cannibalism.
Well, we did. I mean, recently we talked about whether oral sex was vegan.
That's not even a joke.
But is it cannibalism?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the only episode I could find that really, fair to say, meaty, you're welcome, episode, we did one back in May 2019, Anthropophagy, cannibalism. So we talked about heaps of stuff there, like it covered a whole bunch of things, the history of it, nutritional value of human flesh, the obvious stuff, cultural comparisons. And my fave though, I don't really remember this, the German dude who put an ad in the paper because he wanted to eat a dude and he got a positive response and they went through with it. But there was an aspect that stood out and a little bit underdone from that episode. So today I'm going to fix that.
What was underdone?
And it takes on a journey through the informative world of medical cannibalism.
Medical cannibalism.
What is it? Where was it? And when, if ever, did it stop?
Welcome to The Wholesome Show, the podcast that will eat absolutely anything to get into the whole of science. I'm Will Grant.
I'm Roderick Lambert. Okay, medical cannibalism. Or corpse medicine, if you prefer. I don't mind. Call it what you will.
Okay.
Which do you prefer?
Oh, well, you tell me what it is and then I'll know how much I prefer.
I refuse to answer. So the historical stories of your non-medical, your common or garden cannibalism, like from all over the world. We know this.
Yeah, people get hungry, there's no food.
Snack on gym.
Yeah, there's your friend. Or, or people celebrate a victory and they're like, what would be the best way to celebrate this victory? Let us internalize our enemies so we get their powers. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's all
so
cool.
there's a lot of that. There's a lot. But it's always, savages scoffing enemies and stuff like that. Pretty much all the time. But there are also accounts of, like, from around the globe and over time, like in ancient Mesopotamia and India, for example. So many healing professionals were into useful human body parts as health giving.
Oh, okay.
Not just we want to eat peeps, but like you don't seem well, you've got a sore elbow, have this elbow flesh.
You go to the doctor. This is ancient world doctor.
Yes.
And sore elbow. I've got some elbows lying around on my shelf of elbows.
It's fair to say that might not be exactly accurate, but it's not far off.
Oh, okay. You got a sore liver, and I've got some other human livers from dead folk around. Have a little bit of that, and that'll pep you up.
Could be from dead folk. I don't know. Are you a doctor? Are you qualified?
I mean, I understand the logic.
It's very easy to characterize these people as, like the people who did this. They're Mesopotamian and ancient. They're Indian. They're other. They're savages, etc. But I'm not going to so much dive into the past of the mysterious other. We're going to dive into probably the pinnacle of human social and cultural advancement and evolution. Earlier Europeans, from way back, were pretty much, they're quite into health promoting properties of human bits, But apparently it really took off in the Renaissance and forward.
Okay.
Really took off. How popular? So there's a good way to set the scene here. There's a lot of the sources quote this book by Richard Sugg, Mummies, Cannibals and Vampires, The History of Corpse Medicine from the Renaissance to the Victorians.
Okay, cool.
I know, right? The question in this period was not, should you eat human flesh, but what sort of flesh should you eat?
Okay, yeah.
You're like, cool. Let's start with Egyptian mummies. So the practice of consuming bits of Egyptian mummies began arguably about the 11th century.
So, okay, we're getting a mummy from your pyramid.
From your Egypt.
From your Egypts.
Yep.
And we're chopping up a little bit for your medicine.
It varies. Bits here and bits there. But yeah, I think ground was the most popular after a time. Ground mummy.
Ground mummy.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I guess ground mummy, you could sprinkle it on things like your muesli or something like that. Yeah, sure.
A bit of a treat.
Yeah.
You've eaten your veggies.
Powdered mummy.
Have a little mim.
I would love to have a vial of powdered mummy right now.
And it's funny, the reason they reckon people started doing this was a quote, a series of mistranslations and misunderstandings hinging around the word mumia.
Okay. What?
Mumia is a substance found apparently on a single Persian mountainside. It seeps through black rock asphalt, so it's kind of like the local word for wax. It's this goo that comes out.
All right.
And it was prized for healing qualities. So, a tincture for bleeding, you put it in plasters against venomous bites and joint pain stuff.
Was it any good?
Apparently. It had a great reputation, so it became precious, valuable, scarce, etc. around the Arabic world. And it turns out a lot of Egyptian mummies were embalmed using mumia.
Okay. Is that where the word comes from?
It might be. So early Western European translators went, mumia is the stuff that came from these bodies. They just kind of got confused and decided, the goo comes out of the mummy. So you need to get mumia, you get it from the mummy. And basically mumia or mummy bits was prescribed ultimately for fucking anything. Anything. So Euros, at least in the sort of Victorian period forward, I think, were really horny for Egypt anyway. Like we've seen the mummy.
Yep.
And people began collecting and selling mummies anyway. But then once they heard about this health bit, it went off. They were getting them, they were selling them, they were selling them. And of course that meant...
How many mummies were on the market? Like
more, I think, than you'd think.
I thought, in total we found like 30 mummies.
I feel like maybe there were a fuckload more.
Really?
Like a fuckload more. But not enough to keep up with demand.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Smart folk, cunning entrepreneurs, they went, okay, I'm going to grab the body of executed criminals, slaves, poor people, whatever.
Sure, I see where we're going here. Do they mummify them?
Yeah,
or
make your own. They mummified them.
They mummify them for a bit and then like mini mummified, like a bit of
mummet.
Not long-term mummified.
They became mummy-ish.
Just a bit of bandage and then unwrap the bandage and then you can eat them.
Well, actually, no, though. Here's one recipe.
God.
Take your cadaver. Oh, I'm warming you up gently.
Take one executed criminal.
Yeah. Let's not be so specific. Take a body, embalm with salt and, quote, drugs. I don't know what the drugs are.
Oh, okay.
Dry them in an oven.
Whack them in
the oven. Sorry, sweetheart, we can't have dinner yet. I'm still cooking a corpse.
Look, I think you'd need at least the 90 centimetre wide oven to poke a whole human in.
You want your Smeg 9 burner on that one. And then once they're dry, you grind them into a powder, and then you sell them to apothecaries who then put them into home remedies.
How do you flag this with obviously your significant other at home, your kids or whatever, but also the neighbours,
Look, it's
the
for
police?
Work. It's for work.
This is fine. This is all legit. I got a note from my doctor. I got a note from work. I'm just cooking a body.
I got 5 kids. What else am I going to do? We got to eat. So grind it up, sell it to apothecaries. These were guys who were being a bit shufty, so this is a real mummy, and of course apothecaries would go, don't ask, don't tell.
Not legit.
Thanks for the powdered mummy, thank you.
Oh, no matter what, they don't even care. So it could have been like powdered possum.
There were stories of it like cat mummies and shit being used instead, passed off as human. That would be gross.
You're in scam medicine anyway.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it doesn't really make any difference. We're talking all placebo here, so we might as well just get anything. It's
there was beliefs.
Yeah, okay.
There was beliefs. So there were legit recipes for making your own mummy too. And it sounded like, at least in some cases, they weren't even pretending. It was like, we can't get a real mummy, so we can mimic it like synthetic THC. If you can't grow it, make one.
Yeah, speed it up.
So a German physician, Johann Schröder, 17th century medical tome, he says, take the fresh, unspotted cadaver of a red-headed man.
Unspotted.
Yep.
Unspotted. So you want a redhead, but no freckles.
Zits.
Sorry.
Zitless.
Well, it could be freckles as
well. How do you get a redhead without freckles?
Well, that's the thing.
I'm half giga and I'm covered. I mean, imagine what a real one looks like.
Well, maybe pristine redhead who lived above the Arctic Circle never gets any.
Still get freckles.
I don't know.
You can keep one in the dark their entire lives and they would freckle.
I got to say, I
It's
wasn't
the rules.
expecting it to be take a redhead.
Well, because in them the blood is thinner and the flesh hence more excellent. Apparently redheads have thinner blood. They should be about 24.
Well, sure.
And have been executed and died a violent death. Duh. Let the corpse lie one day and night in the sun and moon, but the weather must be good. So not in the rain because that's stupid.
Keep your dogs out of the yard while
Absolutely. Cut the flesh in pieces and sprinkle it with myrrh and just a little aloe.
Oh, wow.
Myrrh and aloe. Do you have any myrrh in the kitchen?
Look, I had some. I'm all out.
So yeah, myrrh and a little aloe. Then you soak it in spirits of wine for several days. Hang it up for 6 to 10 hours.
Again, this is a super creepy procedure.
Don't tell the neighbours.
Like hang it up. Like are we talking like pegs through the shoulders or?
And then it says soak it again in spirits of wine. Then let the pieces dry in dry air.
You're hanging it by the butt.
Nature's hook. The scrot.
That's what they call it.
Under the make your own mummy. So yeah, they say you soak it
eat on your washing line.
This has only got like a 10 kilo breaking strain. I'm going to need more like, I don't know, 400.
Well, we got a 24-year-old gingo. We got to,
with thin blood. Yeah, but then so you soak it again and then let the pieces dry in dry air in a shady spot. So at some point, which he skipped over, that it turns into pieces.
I would have included the cut up as part of your recipe.
Yeah.
Because it's a radically different recipe. Cook a whole cow versus cook a sausage.
Yes.
Like they are.
Yes.
So
yes,
I would include.
I think they've missed some things.
Are we mincing the human, or are we?
No.
Are we doing like leg-sized bits?
It's more like jerky, is what it seems to me. Because at the end, thus, when you've done all this, hung it up in the dry air and stuff, they will be similar, the bits, the strips, to smoked meat and will not stink.
Oh, that's good.
So that's pretty good.
Well, I was hoping they wouldn't stink.
And also, I like jerky. It might be delicious.
How many days have we gone through? Of course, it's delicious. I mean, well, I don't know what myrrh's like, but. How many days?
Yeah, there's your sticking point. Myrrh might be gross.
I would. I know
it's human, but myrrh, you're a fucking monster.
I would be choosing my spices with care. Like,
cinnamon.
Rosemary. I think humans would go well with rosemary.
Just like, what do you put on pork? Because I think same thing.
No. I'm thinking more like a lamb roast.
You feel lammy?
Yeah, I'm lammy. You can be porky if you want. Cook it in milk or something.
And my name has lamb in it, so I've got to be lamb. That's just the rules. A ging of lamb. So it got to the point in the 17th century, in Europe anyway, mummy was seen as basically a panacea and like an entire apothecary cabinet wrapped in dry brown flesh. But that's only one type.
Okay.
That's only one bit.
One recipe.
No, that's just mummies in terms of medical cannibalism.
Yep.
Blood.
Yeah, well.
Obviously.
Well, of course.
So early times, Romans would drink the blood of slain gladiators, vital, strong, it'll transfer.
So do you reckon that, so gladiator dies, you're in the Colosseum, someone goes around and gets a cup of it.
Yep.
Are you waiting for someone else to drink it before you and then you drink?
I just want to see what happens.
Or are you like, no, I'm first. I'm front of the line.
Never.
I want that guy's powers.
My approach always, the only thing I can liken it to is when I was a young man and people were doing the drugs.
Yeah.
I would never, if it was a new one, I'd be like, I'm waiting till all of you have it first.
Oh, so you're last.
Always.
Anyway, I don't want to drink the slain gladiator. I want the
living one.
I want the blood of the winner.
Yeah, you're not an idiot.
Yeah, like that guy's got more power. Like
you can kill the winner.
Yes, and take his blood.
Because you got standards. You thought it through. Another reason, of course, to drink the blood of slain gladiators is to cure epilepsy.
Okay.
But that's early times. That's like, do you call Romans Europeans? We do now retrospectively, but I don't know if they will. I'm going to call them European. Anyway, 15th century. The highly respected Italian scholar, priest, and philosopher, Marsilio Ficino, he reckons elderly people hoping to regain the spring in their step should suck the blood of an adolescent.
How much are we talking?
They don't mention volume. The adolescent should be clean, happy, temperate, and their blood excellent, but perhaps a little excessive. So make sure they've got a bit too much blood.
Yeah, well, in fairness to them. But the thing I love is that, there's always these rumors that, popes, rich people drank blood, things like that. But the idea that someone actually wrote it down as a suggestion
and this
is a time when writing is harder. Like they're like, it takes more effort for them to publish a book or a thing and to go, yes, seriously.
Suck the blood of an adolescent.
And were they thinking, okay, this is a joke. This is clearly a joke and everyone will understand it's a joke. Or here's my argument is take an adolescent.
Listen up, idiots.
Suck their blood for a bit.
I want to see how far you go because I am a highly respected scholar, priest and philosopher.
I kind of get the ground up mummy. Because it's weird and like, okay, that's
very exotic.
It's super exotic.
Yeah. So
and it's kind of cool. Yeah. But the idea of going, okay, adolescents are young and healthy, so let's go and literally sit still for a bit while I suck some blood out of you.
You appear to have a bit too much blood.
Where are you getting
Where are you sucking it from?
Yeah.
I got a few thoughts.
Where's the least weird place to suck blood out of someone?
The vulva.
No, that is not the least weird. That is close to the most weird.
But they're quite blood rich.
Yeah, well, that's why I was thinking like the butt cheek is kind of like it's
hard to get to blood. A lot of meat there.
Yeah, there's
not
a lot of
vessels.
But you do like an arm because that's dignified and they can sit there.
But to be fair, the old John Thomas has got a lot of exposed and skin level veins.
No, but that's getting a bit too sexual.
But it's also pragmatic. It's a hose. There's access points. I'm the vulva guy. I mean, you do what you want.
The place on the body that is the most dignified place to suck the blood out of someone.
Toe? No, it's too raunchy.
No, toe is too submissive. Like it's like you're not
top of the head.
You're not top of the head. Right.
You just got to get over. You got to be like. How hard could it be?
See, that's awkward. I think you want something where they're relaxed,
but it ain't sexual.
Relaxed.
That's definitely not deviant. You're like, I'm going to eat blood from the top of your head. Well, I'm not turned on.
Right through the hair. Right through
you're like. So that's one recipe. Another one, 1559. A text from the time describes a popular remedy attributed to Saint Albertus Magnus. I know you were going to say that, but others didn't know. This involved distilling the blood of a healthy man as if it were rose water. The result was said to cure any disease of the body, and a small quantity restoreth them that have lost all their strength.
I can understand. I totally understand why you would distill blood. Like distilling makes things better. So you're
everything's better if it's distilled.
Essence. That's cool.
So, of course, sometimes it was the blood of young men who preferred, and surprisingly, shockingly, virginal young women. So regardless of where you got it from, the best blood was, of course, fresh blood.
Of course.
Preferably from the living, because it still contained the body's vitality, the essence, the deliciousness of it all. But it wasn't always easy to get, and it could be very expensive. And we know apothecaries could be real gougers, so it's hard to get your fresh blood from your apothecary shelf. So people who couldn't afford the potions and unguents from them would stand around at executions.
Oh, God.
Pay a bit of money for a cup of the still warm blood of the condemned. And this meant, I love the Sugg, the guy I spoke about earlier, whose book is often drawn upon in these things. He said that meant executioners came to be seen as big healers in at least some Germanic countries. They were social lepers, but they almost had magical powers because they had access. These guys were the source. You could also use dried blood. So dried and powdered blood was recommended for nosebleeds or sprinkle it on a wound to stop bleeding.
Okay.
But there's some suggestion that says, well, you put the dried blood and like moss or something up your nose for nosebleeds. It's like, so ram a tissue up there. Yes, it will stop the blood.
Yeah, get some moss.
Because it gets in the way.
Some moss.
Exactly. Put some moss and dry blood.
Like it's pretty close to grab some dirt and shove your nose full of dirt. It's going to work. Like that's fine.
Oh, moss is going to come up again. But look, if you can't get fresh or powdered blood, if that was tricky, here's a recipe for a kind of blood.
Fake blood.
No. Kind of like a marmalade. Oh. You like a marmalade, don't you?
I've been waiting for blood marmalade my whole life.
I'm about to tell you how.
Oh, God.
Or rather, a Franciscan apothecary from 1679. First, take blood from persons of warm, moist temperament, such as those of a blotchy red complexion and rather plump of build. I know.
Moist temperament.
Moist temperament. Like, imagine being described that way. What's he like? His temperament's moist.
To be honest, I can't spot a moist person on the street. Like,
well, you can't tell a head size and you can't spot moistness in a personality.
No, I can't. I can't work out which is the moist person for my blood recipe.
Then you let it dry into a sticky mass.
A sticky mass.
Get the blood, let it dry into a sticky mass. So there's a feel, there's an art to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not precise. It's sticky. How sticky is sticky?
Sure. Cooking's a craft.
It is. Place it, the sticky mass, upon a flat, smooth table of soft wood. Cut it into thin little slices, allowing its watery part to drip away.
So we're making like a fruit roll-up of human blood here.
We're making marmalade, but it goes through the roll-up part. It does go through the roll-up stage. When it's no longer dripping, place it on a stove on the same table, I don't know why, and stir it to a batter with a knife. So make your blood batter.
Yep.
When it's absolutely dry, place it immediately in a very warm bronze mortar and pound it.
Oh.
Force it through a sieve of the finest silk.
Okay. Getting the bits out. We're just getting
we're
smoothing it. So it's a smooth marmalade, not your chunky marmalade.
No. This is the refined one. No chewing required. Mm. When it's all been sieved, seal it in a glass jar and renew it in the spring of every year.
Yeah, well, sure. Is this like an on your toast thing, or
I think it should be. A little bit of sourdough. Let the bread cool. Let the toast cool slightly.
On your granola, I think would be nice.
So anyway, blood's gross. So let's move on to something more palatable.
Fingernails.
Human fat.
Whoa.
Come on, delicious fat. So there's external and internal uses, obviously.
Yes, the topical fats.
Yeah, exactly, versus the imbibed. So external uses, Sir Theodore Turquet de Mayenne, physician to a bunch of English and French kings, and also apparently Oliver Cromwell, the famous juggler.
Yep.
He recommended a pain-killing plaster made of hemlock, opium, and human fat. And I'm like, once you give me opium, do whatever else you want. German doctors would prescribe bandages soaked in human fat for wounds. You got a wound, because why wouldn't you? If you got gout, you rub fat into your skin, or you rub it on an ache, and it might, take the ache away.
Yeah, maybe.
Human fucking fat.
Yeah, it might.
I hurt. Give me distilled essence of fat human, and just my butt doesn't hurt anymore.
It's they're really casual use to cutting up corpses for really purposes, like in the way of
purposes,
all sorts of purposes. It's just like, well, here's a bit of them for this and a bit of them for that. It's just we're wusses these days.
I know.
We look at a human corpse and we're like, oh, I'm squeamish.
I'm not going to eat any of that. What's wrong with me?
Probably none.
I feel weak.
And
where's your sense of adventure?
They had real guts back then. They were like, fuck it.
They literally had real guts.
I'll dive in and take a big old handful of gladiator blood and fat.
Yeah, I'm going to drink that, and I'm not going to get epilepsy or butt pain. Internally, you could take powdered forms of human fat to help with bleeding or bruising.
Yeah, well, sure.
Also apparently good for hydrophobia, aka your rabies.
Ooh, okay.
I've got rabies. Give me some dried human fat and I'll eat it.
But just go back to the bruising. And it's a fairly trivial sort of thing to go,
I have a bruise.
I've got a bruise. I'll eat some human fat. I'll just dial in with a bit of cannibalism.
Still bruised, but salty.
I mean, it feels to me like you were looking for an excuse to eat the human fat at that point.
You are. It's true. It's true.
I've got a bruise.
Hang on.
I don't want to go to work tomorrow.
It's like, you bumped me, human fat, thanks. And a little bit of myrrh because I'm curious.
Oh, my.
How would you get human fat, particularly back in the day?
From a human?
You're an educated man. So late 1600s in Paris, you could buy fat from your local apothecary, or you could cut out the middle fella and just go straight to an executioner.
Yeah, of course.
And it turns out in Munich, there was evidence, according to Sugg again, the executioner would deliver fat to the city's apothecaries by the pound until the mid-18th century.
Well, of course it's by the pound.
Well, what does it? By the thimble?
Well, it's not going to be by the meter.
I'll have a meter of human fat. How wide is it? Oh, good question.
Like it's by the pound. Like sure.
So that's fat. Human skulls. Fucking popular. Like really popular as a health ingredient. Wildly so. It's just bizarre. Not many versions of using it, but really popular. So 17th century English physician, guy called John French. He had at least 2 recipes for distilling skulls into spirits. Not as in ghosts, but like literally just getting them into the goo-goo.
I wouldn't have thought that your skull is your juicing sort of fruit.
Neither would I.
Like, I think, you go from your apples and pears and you can get the juice out of them.
But not rocks.
Even celery, you can get your juice out of. Potatoes getting weird.
I'm going to distill some bread and a piece of dirt.
A skull, I'm not getting a lot of juice out of it.
Yeah, I want some bone whiskey. Just like that's whiskey with a bone in it. Really? But so I think they'd powder it. And so one of the recipes he came up with, he said it was good for helping the falling sickness, gout and dropsy.
Ah, well, of course.
Also, obviously, stomach troubles. But also, it seems kind of everything. The other recipe was better for epilepsy, convulsions, all fevers, putrid or pestilent, and passions of the heart.
To get them or to get rid of them?
Get rid. No one wants the passions of the heart.
Oh.
They hurt you. Too much passion in
So
the
have
heart.
a little bit of ground up head and you can get rid of the passion of the heart.
Ground up noggin. Give me a little noggin.
You need some head.
King Charles II apparently or allegedly paid £6,000.
Yeah, but he was wild.
Yeah, in his day though, what £6,000 is probably like $1 bajillion. He paid it to a professor at a local college for a recipe for distilled powdered skull, human, mixed with wine and or a bit of chocolate.
Hang on, he's paying for the recipe?
Yeah.
For not the actual thing.
Seems pretty easy. Grind up this, add some wine and maybe a little chocky.
Someone is making some good cash on the side selling a recipe. I could sell a recipe for ground up skull.
For anything.
£6,000.
Yeah.
King Charles III, maybe he'll buy some skull recipes from us.
He should, because it became known as the King's Drops.
The King's Drops.
King's Drops. It was popular for shitloads of everything. And I love this. At one point it became like kind of, the source calls it Mother's Little Helper, like what Valium and other such things became later. A woman named Anne Dormer wrote in 1686 to her sister, I apply myself to tend my crazy health and keep up my weak shattered carcass, broken with restless nights and unquiet days. I take the King's Drops and drink chocolate, and when my soul is sad to death, I run and play with the children.
Drink some skull juice.
Bit of chocolate.
Has some chocolate.
Play
and
with the kids.
Goes for a run, plays with the kids.
Play with the kids.
Doesn't sound terrible.
Well, except for the skull. I don't need the skull part. I think I'd feel better anyway. Like I'm going to drink some booze and chocolate.
When did we shift into being so differently minded about eating the blood and drinking the skull?
We're kind of going to get to that. There's also a skull derivative called usnea, which is basically when skulls, I think, are in the grave or whatever, they grow this toupee of moss.
Nice. Nice.
And that became really prized, the powdered form. Good for nosebleeds and maybe also epilepsy. So,
that's
you see
cool.
the photos,
That's
it's literally
cool.
like a kind of it is a toupee of moss on the skull.
Do you get like a hairstyle? Like does the skull get
I think you
style?
could, if you left it long enough, you could get quite a quiff like this perhaps. Okay, we're getting to the end of the example. Meat, the whole corpse.
Yeah, well.
You could sell it and dry it as one piece, so you make sure you weren't getting cheated. You know, you want to buy the whole corpse.
I want the whole lot. I want the whole. I want the fat. I want the toenails.
Yep,
I want the blood.
I asked for like forearm meat. Not the calf.
Yeah, but you got a whole family. You got to
Yes, you do.
feed and medicine a family of 28. You need a whole
need a body.
corpse.
Yeah. Or you split it with your neighbours like you do. You know, you buy a cow and you split up the bits. No different. This one, coffin water. Oh my God. You just hear it and you go, would you like some coffin water? It's like, under no circumstances.
We are so squeamish. So tell me what coffin water is. And
So late 1800s, 1893, there was a collection of folk cures, and it said of coffin water, it says it's considered good for warts.
hang on, just to clarify, what is coffin water?
Oh, it's the water, I'm glad you asked, with which a corpse has been washed.
Oh, okay.
And recently then
So it's wash water. It's not like
Yeah, not
your
from the
corpse, corpse sort of dissolving and it's the puddled.
this is what I thought.
goo.
Do you take literally the coffin in the body and throw it in a vat and then siphon
No,
off
I
the
thought
water?
like you know, coffin and body's been in there for a while, 6 months, been rotten, and it's a nice sealed up coffin, and so there's your waters down the bottom.
No, it's actually corpse wash water.
Oh, it's all right. It's just like drinking.
I don't want to drink anyone's shower
It's just
water.
drinking someone's shower water.
And how often do you do that?
Oh, plenty.
Other than your own?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, from the bottom. Like once it's been over me, then I drink it. Have a little.
I mean, you call it grey water. I call it delicious. And the last example, which of course it's a wholesome show episode, so we need something to do with human poo.
We don't.
We do. Because if you had cataracts,
Yes.
you dry it,
Yeah.
the poo.
The poo. Yeah.
You dry it, you grind it into a powder and you blow it into the eyes, and apparently like, you made me forget my cataracts.
It really is. How, these apothecaries sitting around and thinking, how do we convince someone?
Yeah, how can we fuck them today?
Blow some poo into their eyes?
What's that? It's good for your cataracts. Is it?
Sure. Like, where's your
Smells
fucking
terrible and
peer-reviewed
it stings.
publication?
Yeah, it smells and it stings. So it's definitely had an effect.
Oh.
But, you can do that with sawdust or, lint, anything.
It really is the magical power of gross things.
Well, speaking of magical power, so like these examples, they're great, right? They're fun, they're awesome, it's good to giggle at. But I mean, because we're serious and we're scholarly, and we are.
Yes.
Yeah, we are. So let's have a little think about what the actual fuck people were thinking when they did this. So the theory is, and a lot of it is just, it's sort of like homeopathy, or it's the the sympathetic magic, like cures like.
Yeah.
Your elbow hurts, eat an elbow. But also there's the other one that comes from classical anthropology, is the law of contagion. So like once you touch a thing and then take the thing away from it, it maintains some kind of connection with what it has touched.
Okay.
So, you eat the heart of a valiant enemy, you somehow get their bravery, etc., as you mentioned up front.
I thought eating the heart of a valiant enemy, in part, is just to teach them a lesson properly. And they're
I don't think they're around for the lesson though.
No, it's but they're descendants and everyone else.
Others,
this is how seriously I'm taking it. I am like,
you mean it.
I will destroy you so utterly. I will turn you into meat,
food,
and I will eat you and consume you.
And then I'll poo you out and cure my cataracts.
Exactly. So not necessarily a thing about giving me magical powers or anything like that. Just showing how dominant I am over you.
Well, and it could be both. It's like that whole argument about, was it Greek style? And they used to say, oh, no, it's not about wanting to bang the dude. It's about showing that I'm dominant.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like, well, for some it might have been, but for others it's like you just want to bone the dude. Like some of them want to eat the heart. Some of them think it's going to give them
So
powers.
a little bit of both. A little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe, when you're doing it, you might sell it to some people as I'm doing this for dominance. And other people are like, don't be such an asshole. But if it's got magic powers, sure.
Like it's cool, then bang away.
No, you're fine.
Eat the heart. Even Leonardo, Mr. of the Da Vinci's, we preserve our life with the death of others. In a dead thing, insensate life remains, which, when it's reunited with the stomachs of the living, regains sensitive and intellectual life.
Indeed.
So for many, it was basically spirit was essentially a physiological reality, and it was combined or somehow joined with blood.
But see, that's the weird thing. Like if you're of the, you're like the soul is located somewhere in the body.
Blood.
Well, okay, whether it's the liver or the blood or the brain or the kneecaps, to then go, okay,
so eat it.
I'm going to eat it because I want to have that soul. Like, I think that's
How many souls can you have?
I just want my own.
Yeah, that's enough, isn't it?
I don't. But the idea of being serious and going, all right, now I've got a few more souls, and so shouldn't we let those souls go to where they want to go?
I have no argument with that. I'm a spiritual man, and I don't mean blood. But this is part of the thing. People would say, like, blood, they thought actually carried the soul, and it was kind of vaporous. It was a spirit, and so you eat the blood, you get spirit juice. And we see magical thinking today, like particularly with contagion, this idea that you touch something, it links to something else. So
sure. We've
all heard these stories, people I think they're apocryphal now. I've got this cardigan, Einstein used to wear it, who wants to try it on? And people go, fuck yeah.
Yeah, like licking Einstein's bits of brain.
Exactly. Then you say, okay, here are Hitler's underpants. Who wants to wear them?
No, but you become
Hitler.
a Nazi.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Hitler's underpants.
Well, but I think that the actual stories that I heard were either his hat or his pen. Like, who wants to sign their name with Hitler's pen? And people are like, fuck no, because it'll make me Hitlerish.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And it's the flip side as well. It's both the I get, step away from the glorification of that. So, yeah, fair enough. But if you touched it, like if someone put Hitler's pen in your hand.
You get infected.
You'd get infected with Hitlerness.
You get Hitlish. But this is quite similar thing. It's the law of contagion. And my favorite example of that in modern days, I talk about this a lot, is people who go, I'm going to enter the lotto and I do the same numbers every week because it increases my chances.
That's the
law of contagion.
I get that. That is not increasing chances. What they're thinking is, if I've locked into these numbers, then if I don't choose them and they win, it will be so much worse.
I'll feel terrible.
Yeah, it would be so much worse.
But when you explain to them, like, what do you realize what your thinking is? If you actually believe it increases your chances, I've had these arguments with friends. They go, yeah, but surely it increases your chances. Like, but that implies that the balls know from last week what they're going to do this week. They don't.
I feel like having arguments about probability is just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
You've got to be really stoned.
I get
really
it.
Stoned. So, hypocrisy of cannibalism. This is. I think this is cool. I hadn't really thought about it. So, the classic thing was, savages are bad and actually cannibals. This is particularly at the time when people were eating bodies to help themselves. Yeah. But sophisticated white folks
at the same time.
Same time as people were eating bits.
Yeah, so they're doing it themselves, and they said, "No,
these others, they're savages.
They didn't cook it,
or they're just not. It's not medical. They're just fucking eating people."
Yeah, no peer-reviewed studies behind that.
So the classic thing, even apparently when corpse medicine was peaking, there were two groups that were heavily demonized because of them being cannibals.
What sort of era are we talking?
1700s, 1800s, etc.
Yeah, okay.
So the big group that you'd expect, like particularly at the time of America being taken, Native Americans, North and South, they were savages because they were cannibals, therefore we can do what we want. That was the bottom line argument, and we've heard that a lot. But also, apparently Protestants said Catholics were terrible because they actually believed when they ate the wine and drank the wine and ate the
That's a bit of Jesus.
wafer.
Yeah.
They were saying transubstantiation is literally means it turns into the body of Christ. And so they're like, you guys are cannibals too. So cannibals and those people, so Catholics and those people over there, terrible, terrible people.
So you're all cannibals. I'm cannibal too, but my cannibalism.
You're cannibals. I'm taking medicine. I'm doing something for my health.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is the classic is when you look at the reasons for eating bits of humans, the others, it was part of mourning rituals. It was part of, respecting the dead, whatever it was. And there was, funereal rites that were kind of reabsorbing the person into the group. And they'd look at the idea of burying a body in the ground and walking away as kind of gross and weird.
Sure.
From the other side of it, though, I mean, I love the summary. Basically, the Europeans who were doing it, they'd kind of go, well, we'll eat anything that we don't know anyone. We don't know them.
Oh,
we don't know who they are. They're completely remote. They're not our buddies. They're not our family. It's just some bit of body that's remote and disentangled.
Not even our beloved enemy.
Not even. So basically, I love the summary. The Europeans ate strangers while the indigenous people ate friends. And I think that's kind of interesting.
Oh, which one is better?
It's a very good question.
It depends on your friend.
It really does.
You always got to eat the people that get hungry. Like how there's some people that get hungry really early.
Eat them first.
You got to eat them first because
they're
they're
really
going to cause trouble.
But if
like
they're
no
really
matter what,
they're
going to cause trouble. You got to get out in front of the cannibalistic people in your group.
It's a good call. You seem lean and kind of.
Yeah, you got to get out in front.
So when did medical cannibalism stop?
I'm gonna look. So my brain is thinking, okay, it's gonna be like
long time ago,
1792. But you're gonna tell me it's actually like
tomorrow. In general, it looks like 18th century it started to dwindle.
Yep.
Generally, there are some later examples. 1847, there was an Englishman apparently who was advised to mix the skull of a young woman with molasses and feed it to his daughter to cure her epilepsy. What the fuck?
Mix the skull of a young woman with molasses. That's not a mixed ingredient. Like there's a few more steps in there.
I'm going to drop a lump in this honey.
I don't care how much you're stirring. Like that's not getting mixed.
No, if you go fast enough and for long enough, everything's going to dissolve.
Every time you stir, up pops this young woman's face.
Is that mixed?
I'm not stirring enough.
Mummy was sold, or mummia, mummy, as medicine in a German medical catalogue at the beginning of the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
1908.
Yeah, but they just had their ad paid for a long time. Like that was...
Yeah, it's pragmatic.
Yeah.
Like we paid for it. Fucking sunk costs.
1908.
1908, the last known attempt was made in Germany to swallow blood at the scaffold.
Wow.
So a hung victim or hanged.
You got to see when everyone else is doing it, it's kind of like okay, but
just you.
I reckon being the last person to be swallowing the blood.
No, Fritz, no.
You're a weirdo. Woo!
We're a bunch of Germans watching an execution, and you're the crazy guy. And look, there's argument. You're talking about depends on your definition. There's some argument that modern use of bits of one human body to fix another is a little bit similar. It's not the same, but like blood transfusions, organ transplants,
organ
skin
transplants.
grafts,
Yeah, sure.
ligaments and dental grafts from bodies.
No.
Engineered fat cells for making medicines, blood products.
When there is a logico-scientific reason, like skin graft or an organ transplant, it's like we're literally, we're choosing what is the best possible replacement for this liver, kidney, whatever. Yeah. It's going to be another human right now, and it's going to be one of your blood type and stuff like that. That is not cannibalism.
I got no argument with that. So basically, we seem to be okay with getting bits from dead bodies if we're just inserting them or whatever. We seem okay with that. That's fine. So what about actual cannibalism today, like Europe, America, wherever? And I thought, I got to find something. I went rummaging. I did it for you. I did it for the people out there in the dark or the light or on the bus. I'm thinking, I got to find something, but I'm not going to find anything. Like it's just not going to happen. I found something.
Oh God.
Placentophagy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So a woman eats her placenta after giving birth, and the reasoning is raising energy levels or reducing the risk of depression by stabilizing hormones. The science is out. But basically people like Kim Kardashian, Alicia Silverstone and stuff has said they've done it. They've eaten the placenta. Yeah.
Kim did it.
Many US companies, they say they'll grind your placenta into powder so you can take it as a vitamin supplement. Is it cannibalism if you eat a bit of yourself?
No.
Why not?
It's your own. You own it.
It's your own body.
It's yours to dispose of.
So is cannibalism Only if you eat other?
Other. Yeah, it's other.
Do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Like you get a cut on your finger and you suck your blood. That's not cannibalism.
Why not? It's still eating human.
No, other human. Other human is the thing.
I looked up definitions. None of them say other, just human flesh.
Just human.
Just
so
human.
if I cut my finger off and I eat it.
Arguably, you're a cannibal.
All right, that's.
But like eating your own placenta, that's.
I want to see. I want to see
clear.
someone propose the randomized control trial on the placenta, and it's like you and.
What a study.
Like half of you are gonna get.
Do you feel more vital? Also, when you say we finished the study, you're 140. Okay, you win, but
Well,
you were in the control group.
Yeah. Well, what is your definition? Like, I think.
Technically, if it's human meat, it's cannibalism.
But if it's your own,
It's still human meat. I'm not saying it's bad. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're eating a piece of a human, I think it's cannibalistic because it's eating human. Is it bad? Fucking yeah, eat your own arm. I don't care. But I think it's still cannibalism. So yeah, like, what about that? If I chopped off my finger and then ate it, am I a cannibal, or is it okay because it's my finger?
that's a weird thing to do.
It really is. I'm not going to do it now. I'm committed to the show,
think-
but there is a limit.
I think that's a.
But why is the placenta? Because you've expelled it, chopped it up and eaten it, okay. But if I cut off my finger and ate it, John Wick style, he didn't eat it, but spoiler it. Why is that worse or different?
You ponder that, listener.
I don't have the answer.
If you've survived this long, ponder that.
And if you haven't, go back and listen. Oh, you don't know that now.